All right, Twin Flame folks, I hope you're doing well tonight. This weekend, I guess, I want to share with you something really interesting and something mind-blowing at the same time. And I hope you can digest it well and think about it. And let me know if you have similar experiences. And if you don't, I'm glad to be the one to introduce you to it. So if it happens to you in the future, in the process of your twin flame journey or your life journey in general, then as part of your ascension, of course, then I will be happy to be the first one to introduce you to it so that you wouldn't be scared, that you wouldn't be feeling alone, crazy, God forbid. So just bear with me here. It's gonna be very interesting. So I'm gonna first tell you that even though we talked before about past life regression that happened spontaneously in the dreams, which is clearing of the past life traumatic experiences, phobias and fears, and actually discovering reasons why we do things that we do, why we think the way we do. It's very important. And like I said in that video regarding past lives, as a Muslim myself, I never really thought about it, and I never really maybe even believed in it. But once you experience something, then you become believer. That's how I became a Muslim, you know. Once I experienced existence of true one and only author of the universe, the source, then I became believer. So you need to experience something to believe in something, and I don't think there is other way around it, really. So what happened this time, and what I want to introduce you to or share with you, is shifting of timeline in such a way that you are being allowed to assess the event or the person that you had at certain time in your life, in this life, that you had unresolved situation, unresolved issue, unresolved unanswered questions, and you had no closure provided. So it's now blockage. It's preventing your twin flame reunion because you're not ready, because you still have issues. There's not enough times for me to tell you that you cannot be in a twin flame complete union until all of the issues on your part and all of the issues on your twin flame part are resolved. And that sounds like never ending, like never happening, but it's not true. It's just part of the process we have to go through. I discussed that in the previous video. It's like building a house, building a cake, building anything in life. It takes time and it takes effort. So you can't just think, well, you know, I love this person, they're my other half, and we'll just be together. So even though if it's just enormous amount of time and you are getting tired, please don't feel tired, because it's not about happening that point when you're together. It's about everything. This is for you. This is beneficial for you that you're going through all this. And you may be angry at me right now and say, but how can it be good for me because it's painful? Well, it's just like anything in life. It requires, even pain is part of the birthing process, you know. So all the issues have to be resolved, because twin flames and twin flame union is not, it will be romantic for you, but it's not per se romantic relationship like the you know, like karmic partnership or soulmate relationship, or two people being just in love and bringing all their issues and getting married, and then all these issues resurface. Twin flames are not allowed to have issues in their union, because twin flames have a mission. Okay, you can't get a job at like really important responsible position if you have really bad background, if you have criminal record, if you have uh, alcohol issue, if you have addiction, and they find out in the hiring process that you are dealing with something, they will not hire you for that position because they need reliable person. They cannot, even though you may have changed, but they cannot have you there until they're 100% sure that you are fit and not bringing any issues into your position, that you, so that you can perform at your best. So twin flame mission together, once they come together, is not really about action, although it can be and it will be at some point, but it's more about beingness, of that togetherness that will bring opening energy for others to evolve and to awaken and to do so much healing for the others just by being present in their well, just being present with them, or just being in touch with other people. So you together will have that super energy, but it has to be clear. That energy has to be clear. So you individually have to be clear of all the past issues and your twin flame. And that's where it comes to timeline shifts. And so I'm going to practically explain to you now what happened to me and how amazing and how it's not scary. Well, it may sound to you if it hasn't happened to you yet, but it's not really scary. It's mind blowing when it happens. Wow, like, and I have been through a lot already, that I'm no longer surprised by things. Like, everything is possible. I've been over that threshold where you like still doubt things, and you're still a doubting Thomas, and and you wonder. By the way, I always think that doubting Thomas was just not that much doubting. That was just a story about him. But I think he was a really great guy and a really good friend of Prophet Jesus, peace be upon them. So anyways, but it's just, they say doubting Thomas because sometimes we just still wonder about things. Well, I'm past that point, and no longer wondering, is it real? Am I going crazy or something? Like, whoever doesn't believe me, it's choice, of course, but I stand in my truth, very very well grounded and perfectly normal and sane, and I know it's part of the process, and it's beautiful and it's amazing. It's like a really fun ride. So what happened is I shifted the timeline, and I have not had that experience before, and this is happening now. So I never knew what that practically meant, that you can actually do it in 3D reality, that you can be shifted with the timeline of something that had happened to you in the past, and get an opportunity to work on whatever was not finished properly. And like I said, so first example is when I was 16, I met my first twin flame channeler, or someone who I described before as my twin flames placeholder. He opened up first views on the twin flame aspect, even though we didn't call it that way. And then after we broke up and we went separate ways, and I moved to another country, then I went to another high school, and I was 17 going on 18. So there was a young boy at my school, at my new school, that I met on the first day of the new school, as a matter of fact. And it was an instant connection. It was super instant connection. It's one of those things like in the movies, like just two people meet for the first time, and there is some sparks, like literally there were sparks between us. And it first was that like instant friendship, and we both had a strong feeling that we were also attracted to each other, but I was still very much in pain from a breakup with my first love. And so I was, but I was always an honest person, so I was like not ready to have a boyfriend. I was not, and that time, mind you, I was not religious at all. So it was not, I had no boundaries to date someone. I had no limitations in maybe going out with a boy, besides my parents, of course. Like at that age, you still, respond to your parents. But besides that, I had no tough reasons not to date this new acquaintance, this new boy at my new school. I'm just saying that I wasn't really like looking into starting a new relationship. I wasn't looking into having a boyfriend. I was just focused on school and all that. But this boy there was something different about him. And I knew it, and he knew there was something different about me. He was much different than my first love. My first love, he was very serious for his age and very quiet with other people, but very, very open to me. And this guy was just this new guy was so much fun. Everybody was like, he was very magnetic and charismatic personality, and everybody was just gathering around him. But he, from that first moment I walked into that school and I was being introduced to the class, he couldn't stop like trying to get my attention and following me basically around to get to know me better. And like I said, I wasn't really looking into a new boyfriend or anything like that, but I did want to be his friend, and I liked him from the first moment. He was like very good new thing in my life to make me laugh and to cheer me up, and I like that about him. I'm not gonna say that I didn't. Then and I was besides being, sad about breakup with my first love, I was really also fun, outgoing person, and I had lots of friends too. I made friends pretty fast in my new school. People liked me, and I was always grateful for that. So he just kind of wanted to know me better, and from like day 3, I guess, since I came into a new class, he asked me if we could sit together. And at that age, um, no, girls and boys usually don't sit together. It's like high school, and everybody likes to be with their best friend, and girls were sitting with girls and boys with boys, and just he insisted, and I was okay with that. So we started sitting together, and it was fun. It was not fun just for us, but for the whole classroom. we I was the best student in that class when I came in, and I continued being the best student. But he was average. He was not bad, or because he was super smart, but he didn't study that much as he should have. But he was popular with the teachers too. Everybody loved him. He was very loving and adorable, and he was just a new spark in my life. And my mother met him, and she liked him too. Like 25 days after I came to a new school, there was, I guess, first opportunity for him to really, really try to get really closer to me, as like approach me and ask me to date me. And by the end of that night, he somehow, it was with his charm and fun and everything, he somehow got me to be alone with him. And we didn't do anything. We just talked, and we did I'd say cuddle, just hugged and cuddled. He was very, very affectionate with me, and I did let him do that, because you would have to know this guy to know how, just like, he was just hard to resist, by all means. Anyways, I did ask him that that evening at that birthday party when we were alone. I did ask him if he had a girlfriend, if he dated anyone, and he he said no, that he didn't have a girlfriend. And I guess you know where this story is going. What happened is, it turned out, so we kind of made out that night, and we started a relationship. Like, we started being boyfriend and girlfriend, and I was still very young, you know. We didn't have any, you know, more than just make out relationship at that point, but we did feel as it was the start of something very beautiful and nice. And turned out, just a couple of days later in our school, I learned from a girl that was a little bit jealous, though. Yeah, but it's not, that's not the point, you know. Was she jealous or not? The point is, she told me that he did have a girlfriend, and she was not in our school. She was much older than him, and she lived in that city where we attended school. We came to the school by the bus. We would travel for 2 hours by the bus. We lived on the island, on a beautiful island at that time, and we came to school on the bus. And that girl was living in that city. And as soon as I found out that he was lying to me, that he didn't break up with that girl, I immediately told him that I will not continue our relationship. And then, after I got a little bit less angry, a little bit later, when he apologized and he tried to explain to me and everything, and he cried and whatnot, I told him we can just be friends. And I thought that will not work out. I didn't think it was going to work out, because I know from my experience and from other people's experiences that it's very hard to be friends with someone. At least it was for me, to be friends with someone you broke up with, or you dated for a while and then something didn't work out. It's very hard. But I was going to the same class with him, and of course we stopped. I tried to stop sitting with him together, but just a couple of days later he came back to our desk, and he wouldn't go. He wouldn't just go away. And eventually I forgave him for lying, because I knew that he was too much attracted to miss that opportunity to kind of get closer. But I didn't want to have anything to do with him anymore romantically, so I just told him that he should settle down for being just a friend. And what made things really complicated was that we did actually have a great friendship after that. So basically, I put him in a friend zone, and I had him to remain in a friend zone. And to my own surprise, we became even closer as friends together, and we became basically inseparable. And that was, I guess it was a lot of his fault, because he just would always want to be with me day and night, basically day and night, because he would come. We lived in the same neighborhood on our island, and he would come. His mother worked in another city also. She worked for military, so he was basically alone in the house, and he would come over all day, spend all day with me, and then beg my mom to let him sleep over. Like, so we were like best friends. But all the time it was sweet and sour for me, because I did like him, and I had really very sweet feelings for him. And well, I was in a way in love with him, and I knew he was in love with me. But then what made things really complicated then, because I put him in a friend zone, and I didn't want him to ever try to approach me again. And I told him that if he ever approached me again, then I will break off our friendship as well. So that was his, like, you can be my friend. That was the rule, but don't ever try to ask me out again, or try to kiss me. And don't try any gimmicks. So he was always close to trying, but he never really stepped over that boundary that I posted for him. And I kind of wanted him to, but I never showed him that I was over that, what he did. And again, even more complicated was that because he knew that he had no more chance with me of getting together as a couple, he didn't break up he continued that relationship with that girl, and it wasn't really that they were not really that close. Here is the thing, because we became close as friends, he spent so much time with me. As I said, every weekends we were together. In school we were constantly together, and he stopped visiting her as he did before he met me, but he would go maybe once in every 15 days, and I knew about it. He didn't lie to me anymore. He didn't keep it a secret. He would go visit her and stay there for a couple of hours and come back. He was just kind of maintaining something there. And it turned out, I found out from him, and not just from him, but also his family and stuff, that she was a friend of his mom's. And they met. She was selling goods on the market, and his mother was getting, as she worked as a military interpreter for United Nations, she was getting a lot of free stuff as part of benefit of her job. She wasn't doing anything illegal or anything like that, but she was getting a lot of free stuff like cigarettes and stuff. It was during the war that we just escaped, so we were in the country next door. So she was working there, and I don't know, I guess that's not illegal, but it's not very moral thing to do, and I didn't agree with it. And she was just selling these things to that girl, and she would sell it on the marketplace. And I would get very angry at him if he tried, and he did try many times, to tell me that he was in that relationship partially because of his mother, because she would get very mad if he broke up with that girl, as they were very good friends. And I thought that he deserved better, but he was in that relationship according to him because his mother introduced him to that girl, and his mother encouraged him to kind of get closer to that girl. And it was more of a relationship out of interest than true love or true connection that he had. I'm not saying that I've seen that girl twice, and I'm not saying that she was ugly or anything like that, but she was not someone he wanted to spend his time with. He wanted to spend his time with me, and that made it even more painful for me, and sweet and sour at the same time, because I would never allow him to cross the boundary again. I put him in the friend zone, but I really never wanted him to be in the friend zone. He didn't want to be in the friend zone, but he was also hurting me continually with that not breaking up with her. And also what was hurting me is that I I couldn't accept that aspect of shallowness that relationship he had with that so-called girlfriend was present. It was like representing the shallowness that came from his upbringing by his mom. His mom was single mother, which was very strange at that time in Europe, and I I didn't get along with his mom. She met me several occasions. I would come visit his house as he invited me, and she didn't like me. I didn't like her. She was one of those people that are materialists and are looking just to get money and find a rich husband or something like that. And he was just raised by her, so he kind of followed that, you know, her example, but he wasn't really like that. He wasn't really like that. So I didn't like that aspect of him, of basically using that girl. He told me a million times, like, she buys me gifts, you know, she buys me expensive perfumes and stuff. And I told him, I'm sorry, but that's just a men whore thing. It's, are you a gigolo, you know? And I was being upset as a friend, as his friend, that he would go that low. And he at the same time was telling me like, well, you don't want to be with me. I made that mistake. I'm sorry, but you also, you know, if I break up with her, you don't want to be with me. And I just didn't want to get over my pride and tell him to end that relationship and that I would be with him. And so we just didn't talk much about that. We just had fun. We spent time together. We loved each other dearly, but it was not a physical relationship and it was not romantic. But many times we almost crossed the boundary, but then one of us, I would run away or he would remember I told him that I would break off our friendship if he ever tried something. So it was very painful for both of us to, you know, be together and be that close and not be a boyfriend and girlfriend. But at the same time, we couldn't be apart. It was even more painful to be apart. And he came to me one night crying, and he said he broke up with her, that he broke up with that girlfriend, and that he came to talk to me, but I refused talking to him, and I sent him away. And I actually, my friend was visiting, my brother's friends was visiting, and I kind of made it look like he was my new boyfriend, which he wasn't. But I just wanted to get rid of him, and it was very painful for him. And he was shut down, and he left. And after that, very soon after that, I left that island. I moved to another city one more time, and a few months later, I moved to the United States. Then he also moved to United States about a year later, but completely to another side of United States, not close to me. And it took him a while to find my email through some friends back in Europe. By the time he did find me to contact me, I was already married with my karmic partner. So that happened, like, he contacted me, I told him I was happily married, and after that, he got married. Not right after that, but like 4 years later, he got married. And I've kind of got in touch with him very shortly, but I never discussed our unresolved issue with him. And the issue was not something like you can actually discuss about, but it's something that it just couldn't be resolved on its own. It would have to be like, you would have to really go back in time and act differently and know better and get over your ego and be honest with your feelings and be honest to yourself and honor your feelings and get over the ego threshold. And I should have been honest with him and told him that I wanted him to break up with his girlfriend and be with me, and forgive him for lying to me on that first date, because he wanted to be with me too. And so I never did that, and it became too late, and you don't want to mess with someone's marriage. Then later I got divorced. So you can see now how this type of relationship could bring some issues with it and leave me with some scars. But issue is within me, and it remains, and the pain remains of having that kind of love that was not, you know, fully implemented as it should have been, you know. And I know it was same on his part, or it doesn't even really matter, but it's important that I resolve my issue on my part as part of my journey. So how is this now, how is this strange now? What happened is this: As you can see, I'm showing you the photos of this person, and just about month and a half ago, I through a friend of mine here in the United States that I know, like a girl that I know, she invited me to her gig. She's a musician, and she invited me to listen to her gig at the local coffee shop, and I kind of didn't know if I should go or not, but something was drawing me to go to that event, and so I went, and I met her husband's friend, and I was very shocked when I saw this person because he looked exactly like that boy that I just told you about, but and even it didn't even look like he aged much, you know, but it wasn't him. It's a completely different person. At least it appears to be a completely different person with a different name, of course, but it's actually, as like I said, it's a timeline shift. This person dresses the same like that person, he talks the same like this person, and he has exactly same eyes, same hair, same smile, and our connection was instant as well. He was acting the same way. He's like uh, telling me that he liked me immediately, and he wasn't creepy when he did that. And I noticed just after we met, just a couple of days later, he contacted me on social media, like he sent me a friend request through my friend's page. He noticed me there and he sent me a friend request, and I didn't accept it because I kind of freaked out by this whole event. And at my friend's gig next couple of weekends, she invited me again, so I went, and he was there again. But that was before actually that was before I accepted his friend's request, so I guess he thought that I didn't like him. And I was talking to my friend, and he was there, and he came and he hugged me, and he asked me how I was doing, and he was very happy to see me. I could see that. But he didn't try to do anything more than that, and he kind of left after he finished his gig. He's also a musician, and he left. And we talked about uh, his his shirt a little bit, because I was interested where he got his shirt, because the boy that I was telling you about had exactly same shirt. Interesting thing is, after he left, I had no intention to ask anyone about him or say anything, because I was just watching the process and going with the flow, and obviously something was happening, some kind of a timeline shift. I was observer, just like you are listening to me right now. It's like I don't know what's happening, but it's kind of strange that I meet a person that looks exactly like someone I once knew. He acts the same and all that. So I was just like trying to understand what's going on. Then my friend, the girl that invited me to her event, to her gig, she said, you know what, he was asking me about you, if you're seeing anyone. He thinks you're very beautiful, and he is not sure why, but he feels very, very drawn to you, and he wants me to ask you if you liked him, if what do you think about him. And I I was completely honest with my friend, and I told her that he actually reminds me of someone that I knew a long time ago. It's just when I was just a kid, and he looks like one of my high school sweethearts. And I told her that I found him very interesting and cute, and that that's it. That's it. And she kind of liked my answer, and she didn't say anything. And I told her not to say anything to him, but I don't think she didn't, you know. Anyways, after that, I after that, I accepted his friendship on because before I was so scared, I didn't know what to do, and so I accepted it. And I feel now that, and he contacted me a couple of days ago, when I felt the energy, and I heard some readings that someone will come back in my life from the past. And although it's not the same person, everything about this person is same. Everything is happening. The energy is exactly the same, like with that previous person. As you can see in the photo, and you can see the similarity, and you would see even more similarity if you knew these people in the real life. It's not even about how someone else can perceive that. It is about me and my timeline being shifted from past to now. It's kind of like those movies, like those Hollywood movies. Do you guys remember those movies when someone is like shifted back to their high school days and they get to do it all over again? Oh my God, it's giving me goosebumps right now, because I watched those movies and I never thought that would be possible. It's just a fun movie, and it's like a great as an idea, as a concept, if it could happen, but it's actually happening. And it doesn't really matter whether this is another person or the same person. What matters is I get to do it over again, and I get to do it right this time. Hopefully, right? I'll do my best to do it right this time. This person has contacted me, as I said, and things are becoming more, more, closer to something these days, because he's responding, and he's also on the awakening path. He's on the ascension path. I'm going to post the lyrics to his song that he sent me, and you will see that I'm not making these things up. And I'm posting the photos so you guys know that I'm not making this person up or the person from my past. I'm telling you the truth. I've always been truthful to you and sharing the honest truth with you guys, so you can see that. And so if something similar happens to you, you will not be scared. You will know that it's happening, so you can resolve your inner conflict and your inner issue, and something that needs to have the final closure. Okay, so I hope that I do things right this time, because if I've learned anything through the process, through my life, through my journey, is to not follow the ego and to be myself, because everybody else is taken. Remember that, be real. And so this time I'm going to be real, and I will not be afraid to get hurt. And by being afraid to get hurt even more. Because that's what happened. What created the issue in the first instance, in the first chance. And most of all, I want to say I'm eternally grateful to universe, to Allah, to God, to giving me a second opportunity to resolve that issue. I cannot even believe how blessed and lucky and fortunate I am. But deep down, I know this is universe, Allah trying to help me, not trying, but helping me. May God forgive me, astaghfirullah, helping me with divine intervention, because of my twin flame journey again, because of the importance of twin flame mission, so I can do this smoothly this time, and not to hurt myself, not to hurt the other person, but I will post the song that I posted on my social media, so that this person can see it, which has beautiful message. And I will post the lyrics right now on the screen, but also I will post the song, the actual link to the song below, because you have to hear this artist, this beautiful song. And by the way, it didn't just come to me like that I just knew this song, but the day when I connected with this person, this song came on the radio, and I instantly posted it on my social media, and he liked it. And so amazing, like really amazing things are happening right now with timeline shifts. I guess I wanted to share another story with you about timeline shift that happened, but I can't, because this one is long enough. I don't want to keep any more of your time for tonight. So parallel universe, timeline shifts, all of that is not part of imagination. It's real. You just have to have perception. You have to build enough of clear perception to see when it happens to you. I wish you all the best. I hope you will resolve all your issues soon and be with your twin ASAP. And by ASAP, I don't mean fast or slow, but as soon as possible and in divine timing. Until then, stay cool. Thanks for watching. Share my video anywhere you'd like. Comment anything you wish. And contact me at any time, as I never charge for light work. God bless you all. Peace be upon you.